Ed, and today I've watched The Amazing Spider-Man at 0.25x speed and found 20 new details that you may or may not have seen before. So without any further ado, let's begin. Number 1. At the beginning of the film, when Uncle Ben comes to Peter's room and reveals the truth about Dr. Connors, we can see multiple solved Rubik's Cubes, and up until then, Peter's life was going perfect as well, just like this cube. But Uncle Ben leaves the room shuffling one of the cubes. This is a metaphor for all the changes that are about to come in Peter's life. It means Uncle Ben not only made a change in the cube, but he also just created a huge difference in Peter's life by talking him into finding more details about Dr. Connors. And the fact that this cube was solved even before Uncle Ben shuffled it implies that Peter is a brilliant kid. Number 2. Peter all of a sudden doesn't want Aunt May's spaghetti and meatballs.
Are you serious? Spaghetti and
Since when don't you like spaghetti and meatballs, huh?
This sudden change of taste is not random, because just in the previous scene, Peter stopped Flash from force-feeding the same food to another kid, and that's the reason why he's reluctant to eat this food again. Number 3. Peter was sitting on top of his porch while studying his father's notes. This is a reference to his spider instinct, because spiders have a tendency to favor heights. Number 4. Captain Stacy orders his men to shoot Spider-Man with an electric rifle, and they successfully do so. And because of this, in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Peter no longer gets an electric shock when he fights against Electro, because he upgraded his suit ever since he discovered that he can get electrocuted. Number 5. After Dr. Connors becomes the Lizard, Peter pays him a visit. But notice Dr. Connor apparently keeps his own X-ray inside his house, which shows his obsession about fixing himself. Number 6. The Oscorp Tower is full of hexagons, and Spider-Man's eyes, including his suit, are full of hexagons as well. God, I really need to take my mind off WandaVision. Number 7. Dr. Connors, before taking the serum, always used to have his right sleeve rolled up, but after he gains the ability to turn into a lizard, he lets his sleeve hang without any folding, because if he were to keep it as before, people would recognize him by seeing the green lizard skin around his missing arm. Number 8. During the fight in the library, one of the books knocked off the shelf is called The Mark by Tim LaHaye and Jerry B. Jenkins, which is a story about a superpowered megalomaniac who seeks to remake this world in his own image, similar to the Lizard's plan. Number 9. At the very end of the film, just after Spider-Man swings through the crane, time slows and his spider sense triggers. But pay attention to this bridge far away from Spider-Man. This is the George Washington Bridge. Now in comics, this bridge is the one in which Gwen Stacy was killed by the Green Goblin, therefore foreshadowing Gwen Stacy's death in the second film. Because if you know about comic book films, nothing you see on screen is coincidental. Number 10. In the first fight between Spider-Man and the Lizard only has 4 fingers in the right hand and 5 in the left one. This is because this happens at an abnormally high rate for lizards in nature, so this movie is pretty accurate in that sense. Number 11. When Peter searches online for the name of his father, Richard Parker, one of the options suggested is Richard Parker Life of Pi, because the same name is given to a character in a novel, which was adapted as the film Life of Pi. Number 12. Peter is invited to a dinner of branzino.
Do you like branzino? Like a fish?
No, I know.
This is a species of sea bass. It has a mild, almost sweet flavor. As served by the Stacy family, it is prepared whole and stuffed with lemon and herbs. Now the first thing that popped in my head when I saw this is the same menu that Jane Foster molds over in the restaurant in Thor: The Dark World.
I think I'm gonna have the sea bass.
Sea bass, yeah, sea bass is good. Sea bass, sea bass, sea bass, sea bass, sea bass, sea bass.
Number 13. I just realized near the end of the film, when Dr. Connors' arrest was announced on TV, the shot was taken from behind a blind, showing that he's now behind bars. So rather than showing him literally behind bars, they showed us this scene through the blinds, and that brings my next detail, number 14. After the initial credits, Kurt Connors was in a mental facility. Suddenly a flash of lightning occurs and the man in the shadows appears. This man is not Electro. However, the flash of lightning references and foreshadows Electro. Number 15. When Gwen Stacy is in an Oscorp Tower lab, a hologram of the Tree of Life can be seen, with multiple animals that are possible subjects to cross-species genetics. But notice one of them is a rhino. This is a reference to later appearing cross-species villain Rhino. Number 16. During the scene where Spider-Man swings and maneuvers through a dark alley, a brief shot of this yellow pair of pants with red stripe on them can be seen hanging from a clothesline. In comics, one of Spider fight his villains, Shocker wears an exact pair as the one seen in this film. Number 17. When we see Peter in his complete Spider-Man suit for the first time, he's standing on the top of MetLife building, which is the exact location of the Avengers Tower in the MCU. Number 18. After Peter gets bitten by a spider on his way home in the subway, a light flash reveals the spider logo on his skateboard. Number 19. Remember this character who killed Uncle Ben in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man film? Well, his real name is Michael Papa John, and he appears again in this film as Dr. Ratha's driver Alfred. Number 20. Oscorp has their own network antenna, has a building that looks like this, and despite all of that, their most secret facility is protected with a pattern instead of fingerprints. A pattern. And that's it. This was my breakdown of the Amazing Spider-Man at 0.25x speed. I hope I managed to give you at least a few new details that you